natural hygiene is an entire and all-encompassing philosophy of living. It is not an isolated one thing, and it absolutely and certainly is not just about diet. As it happens, diet is just one little thread in the whole tapestry of what makes up natural hygiene. Natural hygiene is having that faith and that understanding that whoever, whatever, however, that this whole wonderful natural world was created it in such a way that it is impeccable, in fact. It is unbelievably intricate, complex, intelligent, and in fact of an intelligence way beyond any level of intelligence that we could ever hope to achieve. Natural hygiene is about trusting that the great design of nature is perfect, that everything happens for a reason, that there's a tremendous symbiotic relationship between every living thing on this earth, and how all of those living things are actually interconnected and inseparable and interdependent, whether they like to admit it or not. I think it was George Bernard Shaw who said, independence is blasphemy. Each and every one of us is absolutely dependent upon everybody else to some degree or another. And I think that's so right, and it helps us also to understand more about that oneness, that wholeness of all of us, and how we're connected to every drop in the ocean, every leaf off the tree, every little ant on the ground, and of course each other. And if you actually pursue the teachings of most of the greatest gurus and spiritual leaders in the world, the ultimate lesson they're all teaching us is, we are one. And so we look out there at nature, and we can see that the plant needs sunlight, and it needs rain, and it doesn't want to be in too much of a draft, maybe, or this one likes to be in full sun, this one likes to be in partial shade. We look at the creatures, and we say, this creature needs warmth. Oh, this creature is going to really suffer in the heat. And each and every plant and each and every creature has an entire list of what it needs in order to thrive. And I'm not talking about survive, I'm talking about thriving. Thriving enough to produce within itself the best it can be and to reproduce. We see that. We see it everywhere we go. For those of you who've got pets at home, you know what you can and can't feed your dog. Yes? Your rabbits, they might need different food from your dog. Duh. And also, it's not just the food, is it? It's a sort of environment. We come up, we come up, we come up, we get to the human being. The needs of the human being are diverse and quite extensive, but they are very much also needs. They are not negotiable. It's not something you can play around with nature. You can't say, oh, I'm going to decide I need to breathe quite a lot of car exhaust fumes in my day because I'm going to live in the city. I'll get used to it. In fact, if I go live in the city long enough, my body will almost crave carbon dioxide if I go to the country. It's not going to happen, okay? Your body is programmed in a specific way to survive. It has specific needs that have to be met in order for it to survive, and they are not negotiable. Yeah? The body's needs are not negotiable. Natural hygiene is about identifying what the human needs are on every level in order for those human beings to be the best they can be, to reproduce more of whom can be the best they can be. Now, as I said, as we progress up the levels of complexity, we also start to span laterally into other areas of our lives other than our physical health. Natural hygiene is very, very much about, in fact, I would deign to say more about, your spiritual self than it is simply about your physicality. It's about your emotional state. It's about your mental health. And it's about meeting your needs on all levels. But because it's such a reverent philosophy, it's about meeting those needs whilst respecting the needs of other people, which is absolutely vital if you want to live a fully healthy life. So we're looking at the body, we're looking at the emotions, we're looking at spirituality, we're looking at our mental health, we're looking at the way that we interact with our environment, the reverence we have for nature. And when it comes to the spiritual side, you know, personally, my true belief is that I don't think it matters how you choose to connect spiritually, providing it does not harm others in any way. And more to the point, its results of you being connected to it is it results in you being more compassionate, more loving, and more kind. So if you want to go to a mosque to do it, if you want to go to a synagogue to do it, to a Catholic church to do it, or you simply want to sit by a waterfall with your legs crossed and go, I don't think it really matters as long as the result is the same. You feel whatever you feel that enables you to be more loving, kind, and compassionate, because ultimately that's the goal of any religion or spiritual pursuit. But it is a vital part of natural hygiene. Natural hygiene is called natural because its biggest and most greatest need is connection with the natural world, reverence of that natural world, and of course ultimately whatever created that incredible natural world of which we are an innate and vital part. The biggest part of natural hygiene is the spiritual reverence. That is the biggest part of natural hygiene. The diet is simply, if you like, reflecting that heart of hygiene. Because if you are choosing to eat in such a way that you cause untold suffering and death to another sentient being, be that a cow, a sheep, a pig, or whatever, personally, I do not think that that is a particularly high level of reverence that you're demonstrating. But there is a tremendous reverence, a tremendous grace, a tremendous spiritual connection with all sentient beings that is represented in a vegan diet. But it is only part. It is no good us going out there and eating very carefully so that we don't harm these creatures, and then happily hacking down their habitats and leaving them homeless and to starve to death because we've wrecked their homes. It's bad enough that in our history in various parts of the world that we've done this to other human beings. But doing it to animals, how can we justify that? How can we justify other creatures? So natural hygiene is about feeling that reverence, feeling that responsibility, that honor, and carrying that with us in our hearts.